So you mentioned that you have 6 bags that you're really focused on high conviction. Now, I'm sure everybody in the audience is like, can you elaborate? And why are your reasons that you have such a high conviction for those 6? Are you willing to share?
It's actually, I think, 7. All right,
7 now.
let's name them off.
Woo!
Let's name them off so I don't miss any. Hang on, let
And
me
then
just pull.
not in any particular order. So in case anybody's watching, like, dude,
It
I'm
might be
number
8.
6 on
All right,
that list.
I'm gonna
8.
give them to you. You
Awesome. You
ready?
going
Here they
around
are.
now.
Okay. Spirit Swap, so
Okay.
Spirit token.
Right.
Spooky Swap,
Mhm.
Beats, Liquid Driver,
Mhm.
Scream,
Okay.
Tarot, and Oath.
And oath.
7. I think those
Right.
are my 7. That's my
Okay.
7.
Okay. And those are your blue chips, and you're just healed and compounding them. So why those 7? Because somebody could look at it and say, Austin, you got 3 dexes in there, right? You got 3 dex tokens, if I
Hmm.
counted that correctly. You got you spirit, got yourself boo, and then you also have beats, which there's an overlap then also with liquid driver because you're getting incense the rewards of those all 3 as well. So you're
Hmm.
almost really extra covered. Why all those dexes?
Because as Phantom grows, like here's what I think people don't realize is that
Mhm.
the same way I said earlier, like, hey, we can be one of the most used L1s. We don't have to be the top, right? We're going to get enough volume if we're just one of the players. It's the same way with the dexes. Like, right now, Spooky is leading the pack. No question about that. And for the foreseeable future, they probably will. Like, that dev team is out of control good. But as we move on, like, capturing small bits of market share is really sufficient to ensure you have a successful decentralized exchange. So I think Spirit, especially with their V2, is going to come out swinging hard. I think Beethoven has clear benefits because it's balancer. I think Spooky is coming out with a V2 that I've heard whispers about, but I can't like definitively say who's who. But I think everyone is going to be integrating some form of balancer within their AMMs at some point pretty soon. And that's going to be really important because Beethoven has really shown how powerful that is and why everyone really wants that to be the case. So that's why I have 3 dexes. And these are the OG projects. They're projects that so with the exception of Spooky, like they're a very, very anonymous team. I've had fair amounts of contact with Erie. I'm on a few multi-sigs with him. But it's the only team among the teams that I mentioned that I haven't, at least at a bare minimum, had a video call with, right? Like a lot of those teams are anonymous. Beethoven team's anonymous. Oh, credit. I forgot to mention credit, dude. I totally
How
screwed up.
could you? How could you?
Gotta put credit on there. Like, all right, 8.
There we
The
go.
Revenant team, man. Love those guys. Got to put that on there. Um, but I have personal relationships with a lot of these guys, and that's why I'm buying into a team, not a
Hmm.
token.
Do you think that other chains are looking at the innovation that's happening on Fantom, kind of like looking over, like, oh, what you guys got going on over there? All of
Hmm.
you are doing that? Oh, that's working out well. Maybe we should implement that over here. Do you see that happening? Do you think that's happening?
I think balancer tech is the future of DeFi. Like, I think the Uniswap V2 model is going to be phased out, not completely, but we've advanced so much further than we were at that point, like with weighted pools and boosted pools and smart order routing and stable swaps all integrated into one. Like I think that's kind of the vision of what Andre wanted to do with Solidly, but it didn't quite come out in that way. Um, I think Spirit Swap V2 is going to be solidly without the bugs. And weighted pools. That's what I think Spirit Swap V2 is going to be. Um, so I think anyone with their pulse with their finger on the pulse. Sorry, man. With their finger on the pulse of crypto, will know that weighted pools, index pools, all of that is the future of where we're going here because this is super important. So the boosted pools on Beethoven don't get as much uh, publicity as they should, but we haven't really hit this point yet. But there will come a point in DeFi when token emissions are going to end, right? Like most of these token emissions are slated for 3 to 4 years. We're going to get to that point, and the assumption is that the trading fees will be sufficient at that point that people will want to continue to provide liquidity on these platforms, right? That's the goal. With boosted pools, what we ensure is that now you can provide liquidity within these boosted pools, get an APR, because what they're doing is they're taking it and putting it in Yearn or whatever the case is to enhance even the trading fees. And so this is kind of like the future of DeFi, is how do we find new ways of providing yield to people that have the liquidity to keep the liquidity within the platform. And that's going to be really, really important. It's not something you can do on UniV2. You can only do
Mm.
it on Balancer for now.
So, Austin, what is some information that you want to talk about? Just anything that you're like, ooh, this would be a really good topic to cover, because you're able to talk about it in Phantom Unchained, but is there certain things that are maybe not related there that you just want to like speak freely about here? Be like, huh, I really like the fact of pizza that there needs to be certain toppings on this, like whatever random it
We're going
could
to talk
be.
about pineapple. Um,
Pineapple.
no. I really want to talk about, I really want to get into more depth than we do on the AMAs. Like, so Clay is, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, I may have, but Clay is going to be coming in and helping me out with the AMAs. And what I'm hoping to do is pivot into more of like an up only style podcast where I like actually get to interview people instead of projects. Like, come and talk to me when you don't have something you're trying to get people to pump money into. That's really what I hope to be doing moving forward,
Mm,
because I really want to reveal to people that there's a huge human side to crypto that I've gotten the ability to see because I get to interact with so many other people. But I think a lot of people miss the importance of what this is, right? And like, a lot of people are going to experience this if they haven't already, is they might hit big in crypto and all of those huge financial worries are going to go away, and then they're going to go, I'm still not happy in my life. Like, I thought
mm.
that was going to make me happy, right? um, and so those are the types of conversations I want to start having. Like, can we get deeper into like who these people actually are, why this is important to them? Let us really get to know who's behind the Phantom ecosystem. So those are the types of conversations I want to start having, because those are important to me. And maybe they'll be important to other people, maybe they won't. And if that's the case, that's okay too. I'll still do them because they're cool and fun. Um, so those are the things I really want to talk about, uh, because I just think that has a lot more depth than what has been occurring.
Do you think there's going to be a one-on-one conversation, or you could just grab literally random people from the space and be like, you know what? I'm going to grab some really great content creators. Boom, come on board. We're going to also reach out to that person from the development side, and we're just going to have an open chat. And you can always just rotate and do it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I think it would be loose, man. I think it could be anything, and that's kind of what I'm going for. So what actually made me realize that people want this is Unchained, because the amount of views Phantom Unchained gets versus these random AMAs is like monumentally different. It's like 10x sometimes. And so that tells me what people want are like real conversations with real people, not one tracked about a certain project. Let's just shoot the shit and see what happens. Like, I'm gonna vape. I'm gonna cuss a little bit. Sorry if it offends your kids. Please don't watch it around your kids, like that type of stuff. Um, and that's a lot more fun. Like, Unchained is something I'll do for as long as people still find value in it, because it's just an awesome experience for me personally. I get to learn a lot of cool stuff. And that's what I'm hoping to do moving forward, is I get to learn a lot of cool stuff. And there's going to be a lot of well-loved people within the community that maybe have never had a platform, or they've never had a bigger platform. And I'd like to take the platform that I have and share it with them, and share it with you and share it with Chadley and Nick. Like, these are two
Oh
guys that
my
I think
God.
are putting out great,
Great.
great, great content.
Yes.
And so that's kind of like the goal that I've realized recently is, okay, I want to a little bit less of me and a little bit more of them. I think would be a really good thing for all the community.
Hmm. That the possibilities here are quite grand, right? Because I know CryptoKlay, he is really more into the analytics, right? He can drill down, figure that out, be like, I saw some of his tweets about wallet addresses, transactions. He's able to go deep into like the alpha of certain projects. I think that's where he really stands out. So maybe he has a segment on Fantom Community Alerts where he does more AMAs. Maybe you are more on the personal side where you're like, okay, let's have a fireside chat with Nick Drake on and then Chad Mischief. Am I pronouncing that right? I
Chadley
mix up
McChief, I think it is.
Chadley McChief. My
I'll,
apologies. I know
I'll
you got
probably
that
say
Screamo. He got that
prob-
Screamo profile, so that's how I know who he is.
that's right.
But yeah, just have different segments, and the possibilities are endless for you as to where you want to go. You put in the work, you have the platform. I think that even if you do branch out to different chains, you would get a lot more views and count, which isn't the most important thing, of course. But that exposure to all of a sudden be like, who's this Austin guy? Man, he's really good at talking. He's networking with people. Okay, I'm gonna follow him. He brings some really great content. I'm learning, and that's another cool thing is for the audience. It's one thing to be lectured. You're saying like, this is an LP token. This is why you should get this, and it's different. Where it's like, hey, did you hear what's happening on Spirit V2? No, what happened, man? Well, they're going to be doing maybe this and this. I'm speculating this, and just in case you don't know, here's a little bit of education. I feel that people learn a lot more and they feel included in as if it's a conversation, even though they're not a part of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So I would personally can't see myself ever branching out. And I'll tell you why I don't see myself branching out because that all the time. I can be really, really good and dedicated at small bits of information for a period of time and then I go off track. And so what's kept me able to keep my eye on the ball is just focusing on Fantom. Just Fantom alone allows me to be invested and understand really what's going on. If I start branching out and I'm gonna be like, there's a squirrel, there's a squirrel. I can't handle that shit, right? So that's really a big part of the reason. The second part of the reason is on Fantom, I have access to these people. They'll talk to me, you know, and that's really important for me personally. To continue to be fulfilled in this role is that I can have those personal relationships with those guys, you know.
That's true. And then also, it's like if you're in 30 different projects, it's hard to keep track of everything. Just
Hmm.
so much stuff. But if you have, as you mentioned, you're eight, you know pretty much everything that's going on. And that takes, dude, that's a full time job right there in and of itself to know what's going on with your eight projects and then
Hmm.
reaching out, talking to them, producing content. So I definitely am in that boat with you as well. I have my one chain, I know what's going on. It's your home. You know you have the reputation, you can connect with the people, etc. So then you just feel more comfortable in your positions as opposed to you go into almost, let's say, a different country and you're like, am I in the right project? What's going on here? Am I being taken advantage of? Or am I right?
Right.
Because you're more comfortable where you live. So
And
I
I have
definitely,
like a pretty clear vision, or I think I do, of where Phantom's going over the
yeah.
next, I would say 6 to 12 months. And I can
Ooh,
tell you, I can pretty much unequivocally tell you that the drivers of that are going to be the Byte Masons. They're
yes.
going to be the team that is bringing more innovation to Fantom than probably anyone else. I mean, individual projects are going to have such an important role. But the Byte Masons are just so all-encompassing. They're so thorough with what they're doing. They're so involved in so many various projects that I think, in my personal opinion, the Oath token is probably going to be one of the most important tokens that we have on Fantom, and nobody knows it yet, but it will be. And so what we look like 6 months from now is going to be completely different. But remember, I said earlier, like the biggest thing that we're doing right now is we're putting down the pieces of the foundation. And when the foundation is laid, everyone else can come and build on top of it. And that's a big part of what they're doing in the background. Part of that foundation is education, part of that foundation is software, and so part of that foundation is security. Like that's a big part of it. Uh,
Yeah.
these guys are doing big things. So I just wanted to shout them out because every member of their team is just stellar. Like they've been absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about what the community can do because I think that's like
Oh,
one of the most important things is that
right.
there's probably a lot of people that are going to watch this who don't know they have skills yet or like I'll give you my experience, a year ago, like I had gone ape shit into learning DeFi and to try and understand like what this yield farming thing is about and like how does this all play in and what's an LP and why would you provide liquidity and blah blah blah. And I didn't even realize that, the first time I shot a video, and it was rough, man. It was a rough damn video, but I put it out and people started coming to me going, wow, I had no idea. Thank you for explaining it so clearly. And it was a skill I didn't know that I had, and it was an understanding that I didn't know was valuable to people, right? And so there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this that are sitting there with these types of skills that they can share with people on a bigger level. It does take some courage, and it does take like being willing to put yourself out there. But I would definitely encourage people to at least give it a shot. Like, see if you're decent at it, see if you have something to share. And if you do,
Mhm.
I would like to support you in helping you to get some eyes on you, if that's something you choose to do, because the more we have people that are willing to engage, the better. And it's going to raise all ships.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And another concept is, hey, if you mess up, nobody's watching, right? So if you
Yeah.
got like a lot of followers, great. People love what you're doing. Nobody following you, you post up stuff and nobody continues to follow you. You got your feedback, but nobody even knows. So just continue on.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
that's
can I can tell you a little secret that I've learned from people.